Hey, Terrainiacs, Mel the Terrain Tutor back in the studio and back with a bit of a technical terrain tutorial for you. We're starting our medieval Let's Make series soon, and as part of that there's various types of different roofing that was done in the medieval period. From thatch, turf, shingles, slate, lead, clay, all sorts of different methods. Yeah, so what I'm doing is a couple of technical videos just to take you through a multiple of techniques so I can refer to them in the Let's Makes videos. Now we're leaving thatch and turf for a future video, but in this video we're going to be looking at clay tiles, stone tiles, shingles and various things like that. So, shall we get stuck in? Come on! So we're going to start off with some tiling, and we're going to start off with a bit of a classic cardboard tiling. Now tiling was quite common in the Middle Ages. They used stone tiles as sort of slabs, they used slate quite late on, and they also used lead quite late on quite expensive buildings such as like castles and cathedrals. Now when it comes to us, we're not using stone or slate, we're using cardboard, or specifically Cocoa Pops. Now, important thing about when using cardboard to make shingles, always get the stuff which does have a glossy side. That's because this is the side that you're going to use presenting outward on your roof. The reason being is it takes paint really well compared to this side. Now you don't have to use cardboard. There are some posh modelers out there who like to use plasticard, that's perfectly fine. And then on top of that, with a little bit of digging, you can also find, and save yourself a lot of hassle, textured plasticard sheets. Now these are from a company called Evergreen, and these are tiles, okay, but they do lots of different sheets with different slates and that sort of stuff. So if you don't fancy doing all the hard work, there is this option, guys. Okay, but we're doing the hard work. Now if I bring this up, I've already pre-marked this and I need to take you through my marks. Okay, now I've got a line which is 1/2 inch away from the bottom, and then that's divided in half, so 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. Basically, one side is going to be my cuts for my tiles, the other side is going to be where my overlap is going to be, and each individual row is going to be this 1/4 inch. Now there's a couple of dividing marks, that's to tell me how many I need to fit it onto there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come along and with my blade I'm going to cut from that line downwards, okay, and just on these individual points which are 1/2 inch along. Okay, so dead simple, watch your fingers of course. So all of those cuts are done. I've only done a simple single cut. You can go in and sort of feather them out and make them a little bit wider if you want to. That's down to you and your time. The next job is I just need to sort of extenuate the sort of tiles and make them the gaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my clippers. I'm going to come along and I'm just going to clip, yeah, at the bottom of each cut a little V. And if I come along and bring that up, yeah, you can see that, and that'll help all the tiles stand out as individuals. Okay, so next job, just do along there. So that's all my clipping done, and as you can see the tiles are really starting to stand out now. Next thing I need to do is just simply cut these strips off so we're getting ready to place them on those. But before I can do that, I need to mark a few more strips up ready and sort of work off these markings I've already got and save myself a bit of time. So I'll get cracked on with that and I'll bring it back once I've got my strips done. So now I've got them all cut out, okay, I'll bring them up. Now what I've done is I've done 3 rows of 6 tiles and then 3 rows of 5 tiles and 2 half tiles. Yeah, so as you can see, yeah, that's to get the overlapping structure you get with tiles. Now when it comes to gluing them down, yeah, it really depends what you're gluing them on. It's cardboard, so pretty much all of our glues will work with this. Yeah, but it's about layering them down. Yeah, you put the first ones, the bottom ones first and work up from there with overlapping. Now you can cheat and use a little bit of double-sided sticky tape like I have. I know, sneaky innit? And it's just a matter of placing them down so that they're straight, back in a sec, and then building them up stage by stage. Now when you put them on, I recommend you put the glossy side first, i.e. this side up because it takes the paint the best. But yeah, when it comes to actually showing you, it's actually the cardboard which shows you best for this for the technique and the tutorial. So I'll quickly build this up. And once you've got them all layered on, you'll be left with something like that. Okay, which takes dry brushing beautifully. Okay, we'll cover painting watchgut roofs in a future video, much like the thatching, but yeah, easy cardboard tiles. Just remember when you do them, yeah, do your lines and your cuts on that side because that side takes the paint far better than that side. Okay, so that's cardboard tiles. Now, if you are a little bit of a Terrainiac nutter, you can do them as individuals and lay them down individually. It gives a far more rustic style. It looks a lot better, but damn, it's a lot of work, guys, trust me. Okay, it's about easily 5 times the work, yeah, to do them individually. You have been warned. Right, so that's basically cardboard tiles, whether they be stone, slate, or lead. Okay, shall we move on to a different sort of tile, or more importantly, shingle, wooden shingles? Come on, let's crack on. So the next technique we're going to look at is wooden shingles. Now, wooden shingles were quite common in the medieval and Middle Ages time, especially rurally. They were really cheap. They were also plentiful because of, you know, general wood that was around. And on top of that, yeah, they were relatively lightweight when compared to thatch and slate and stone and lead and those sort of structures. Wooden shingles would require far less of a slope because if snow gets on it, the amount of weight that builds up, they could take it. Whereas once you go up to thatch, what you needed about 40 to 55 degrees for thatch. And once you move to stone and slate roofs, yeah, you were looking at sort of 55 degrees or more. Yeah, for it to be steep enough for the snow to fall off and make sure it doesn't get enough weight for the whole roof to cave in. And, you know, so wooden shingles, you know, they were a cheap, easy option. So they were quite common and plentiful. Now, to replicate these, what we're doing is we're using balsa wood sheets. Now, I think this is a 2mm sheet. Yeah, just pick the sheet that's right for the relative size for what you want to do. Now, the first thing I need to do is, because it's all smoothed off, I need to texture it with a wire brush. So that's just a matter of dragging along the grain with this. And everything we're going to do with this is going to be along the grain. Yeah, so if I give that a quick, yeah, brush, you can see that's come off. And if I bring it up, you can see compared to up there, you can see my texture. Now the next thing I need to do is mark off, much like with my card, yeah, where my actual tiles are going to be, my shingles are going to be. So I'll crack on with that now. So that's my lines marked on it. Now the next job is, before I do my individual shingles, which are going to be roughly ½ inch, okay, I'm going to come along and I'm going to bring this to my table edge. So you're going to have to look down at this bit on the camera. Yeah, I'm going to put literally just 2mm over the edge of the table, get my wire brush and give it a bit of a hammer. Now the idea behind this is I want to break some bits off. I really want to weather it. Wooden shingles were quite worn and knackered when you look at the photos and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I do that. Now the reason I did it like that is by putting it right at the edge, when I use I can be quite forceful but not snap the actual balsa wood. Yeah, so next job, I need to do my shingles. Now for this, I'm using a pen. Don't use a blade to cut your shingle marks in. It'll either be too thin that you won't see them, or it'll be too thick, it'll actually split the balsa, yeah? Whereas with a pen, we can get quite a good impression. And like I said, I'm going to do these at, what do you call it, ½ inch. So ruler there just as a quick guide. And then all I'm going to do is come in and just put some pen marks in. Best if you go straight on, otherwise you sort of end up with sort of a lopsided cut. You'll see what I mean if you do it. Yeah. So if I bring those up, yeah, focus, you can see my lines. And if I bring it up like that, hopefully you can see the actual V's in them. Can you? Hopefully. Right, so my next job is I just need to repeat this process along all these stages, because this is all it is. One quick thing, yeah, that I really do need to mention is that when you come to cutting these out, yeah, make sure you pin them down and you hold them down really well. Yeah, there will be a tendency for them to split. So use your metal ruler, watch your fingers, yeah, and apply quite a bit of pressure to hold them down. Don't try and cut them in one pass, do a couple of passes, yeah, because if you try and cut them in one pass, it's a bit draggy and that can split them as well. And then what you end up with is something like that. Okay, so if I bring it up nice and close, yeah, you can see where my individual shingles are going to be. I'll need to trim a little bit of this side where it's gone off a little, but you can see where we're going with this. So I'm going to put a few more on, and then we'll lay them together, and I'll show you, you know, what they look like once they're all on. I'll crack on. So all our roof shingles are cut out. Yeah, and we're ready for laying them down. Now, once again, yeah, pretty much because it's balsa wood, any glue will work. It really depends what you're gluing it down to. I'm putting it on foam and I'm cheating with a bit of double-sided sticky tape. Yeah, but simple lay it down. Yeah, and then once again, much like the cardboard tiles, we're going to be overlapping. Now, one quick tip on this, when you get to the top, with your very top ones, yeah, obviously you're going to have shingles that with the line that goes pretty much all the way up. If you do that when you're cutting your shingles out, they'll split when you try and trim them and they'll go individual. So what you need to do is you need to come along and you need to, you need to put the extra lines in that take them to the top on once you've actually, put them on and they're fixed in place. Okay, so very quickly, just to demonstrate what I mean, yeah, let me just finish this. So they're all on, and as you can see with this very top one, yeah, my lines only go halfway up, very much like with the card pieces. Now all I need to do to finish these shingles off, yeah, is just go in with my biro, yeah, and just define them as individual shingles. Normally you'd have a capping strip, a folded bit of card or something like that that goes straight across the top, okay, but you do need to continue the lines up. Okay, so, oh, that one's broken off. I'll glue that one back on. See, that's why you've got to be careful with this stuff, because once you start putting the lines in, yeah, it gets very fragile. Right, but that's essentially how we do the wooden shingles, guys. Right, one more for you. Shall we do clay? Let's do clay tiles. Now, finally, I want to show you a quick technique from the sort of diorama guys. Okay, now it does have some application into wargaming. It can be a little bit fiddly, so I'll leave it down to you, but I'll show it you and then you've got it in your repertoire. Now, there were some tiles in the medieval and Middle Ages. Yeah, there was a lot of reuse from when the Roman occupation of Europe, and on top of that, there's evidence of specific tileries around Europe making tiles sort of later on. So the technology was not completely lost. But how do we replicate those sort of curved tiles? Now, there's a few different ways. One of the ways is to get plastic straws, whether they're these straws from, whether they're styrene, you know, modelling straws, or whether they're drink straws, and simply cut them straight down the middle, okay, and cut them off in sections, and you end up with halves that you can lay down as tiles. Now, that can be very, very fiddly. There is another option that uses foil. Okay, now you need heavy duty foil to pull this off in wargaming, and because it's not a technique I do that often, I don't actually have any in the studio, but yeah, I do have some bog standard kitchen foil and it's enough to show you the technique. So what I've got here is I've got some bog standard kitchen foil. I've folded it over 4 times to get it a little bit thicker. Now, when you're working with kitchen foil, always use scissors to cut it. Don't use a blade. Blades don't work that well. You'll keep tearing it and that sort of stuff. So use a pair of scissors. And all you need to do is, what I've got here is, I've got a load of plastic tubes. Okay, if I bring that up, yeah. And all I've done is I've sort of hot glued them onto this little bit of polystyrene just to show you what I'm doing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my tube like that, line it up, and I get my tin foil, so make sure this is nice and clear on the camera for you. Yeah, and I hold the tin foil off the edge on one side. Yeah. The next thing I need, yeah, cocktail stick or a bit of barbecue skewer. I roll it over, push it over, and push down into the crease and give that a rub. Yeah, now I need to be careful that I'm going on the right alignment here. Once I've got one done, I come along, I pinch it at the top of the next row and come along and do another one. Carefully, yeah, fold it over, pinch it, do another one. And I continue this till I get to the end. Quickly, yeah, so this won't be the perfect job because I'm on camera. Yeah, but yeah, I'll show you the technique. And then if I bring this up, yeah, what you can immediately see, okay, is my tiles, okay? And they can be dropped on a roof as tiles themselves. So let me bring that, yeah. There you are, that's without the shine. And so you can see where I'm going with this, yeah? With heavier duty of foil, it's a lot tougher. They go down a lot better, to be perfectly honest, but it's not a technique I really use. But I did want to show you as a way of making sort of tiles for your roofs. Personally, yeah, if you're wargaming, go with either straws or find yourself some plastic card sheets. The reason being is dead simple. They're a lot more durable than the foil, unless you can get your hands on that heavy duty foil. That's pretty damn tough. But I'm struggling to find any at the minute, which is why I've had to use kitchen foil to show you. So there you go, guys. That is how to do tiles. So we have covered how to do metal ones, we've covered how to do wooden ones, and we've covered how to do cardboard tiles. Right, let's wrap this up. So guys, there you have it. There's a couple of simple techniques for doing simple stone, slate tiles, for doing wooden shingles, and a look into the diorama side. Remember, you'll need tougher foil than the actual kitchen foil if you want to use that in wargaming, but it is fine for dioramas because they're hands off. As always, guys, if you've got any questions, get them down below. If you've got any tips, get them down below. I'm always up for learning, guys. And as always, like, share, and if you really do appreciate this content, yeah, and it is helping you with your hobby, remember you can support the channel on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. There'll be a link in one of these corners, or you can, if you're not into the monthly thing, you want to do a one-off, yeah, there's the PayPal link down below for a one-off donation. It all helps keep the lights on, the cameras rolling, and me in here making this stuff and helping you with your hobby. So that's it for this one, yeah. There's a couple of videos on screen, there's a couple of links on screen. Go where you will, and I will see you in the next video. All the best, yeah? Ta-da!